Hi guys, I'm Linda.
I'm Vicky.
I'm Margie.
And we are
Partners in Crime. And today we have a very special guest with us. And here he comes.
Now, don't get scared.
Yes.
We exhumed him. We exhumed him for this occasion.
From ear to ear.
We do have H.H. Holmes, otherwise
tomb was
known
empty.
as Keith.
The tomb was empty.
And we also have our wine segment. So Vicky brought some wine for us to
Right, and I
look
brought
into.
Arbor Mist. It says Infidel and it has a sangria flavor. One of my favorites because it's sweet and fizzy. So, you know, that's
we like fizzy.
Sounds
right
very
up my
girly.
alley. So,
Sounds very girly.
it's really good. And, you know, Arbor Mist makes many flavors of wine. And I've had pretty much all of them because they're all fizzy.
Yeah.
So, let's,
Do you want me to do?
Yeah, you pour.
Okay.
I might need a straw with this mustache.
Yeah.
That's right.
Just hold it
I'll
while
be
you're
alright.
drinking. I think you'll be okay.
I'll figure it out.
And if
Holmes
we
had
need
a
to
big
get
old
a straw,
mustache,
we'll
so-
get a straw.
And you have them here?
Yeah, I have some down here if you need it.
I think he's going to need it.
We have a bar over there, so we have plenty of straws. So here we go. The Arbor Mist Sangria Zinfandel.
Oh,
Cheers.
Nice.
Cheers.
here.
Thank you.
Especially to our special guest.
Yeah.
Wow. It's like grapefruit juice. It's like,
It is.
I actually thought it was going to be a lot sweeter than it is. It's
Oh,
not
really?
bad at all. Yeah.
Pretty sweet, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's pleasant.
It's sweet, but it's not overly sweet. I think the wine that we had the last time was more sweet than this is.
yeah.
You
I
think?
think it-
Yeah,
I think so.
Okay.
I like it.
Good. I'm glad everyone likes it.
Yeah. So today we're going to continue with our,
Our H.H. Holmes
yes.
series.
Mm-hmm.
And this time we are reviewing
H.H. Holmes.
H.H. Holmes
Mm-hmm.
and his great-great-grandson, who is Jeff Mudgett.
Mm-hmm.
And he has been on a quest for like 25 years to know his great-great-grandfather, but also to prove that he's Jack the Ripper as well.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that, and it's really an interesting documentary if you get a chance to watch it. It's called
American Ripper.
American Ripper. Thank you.
It
Yes.
was produced by the History Channel, and it is now showing on Prime.
Right.
On Amazon Prime.
So, where should we begin?
From the beginning, let's do that.
Okay. Jeff, in this series, he, and it's an 8-episode documentary.
Right.
He has a ex-CIA operative. Her name is Aramis
Fox.
Okay.
And she's helping him to investigate this whole thing. And it starts with explaining his childhood and in the area that he grew up in.
And that was New Hampshire, correct?
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire,
That's right. And the suspicions they had of him even as a child. He had a couple of cousins who passed away or died under strange circumstances.
Drowned, I
They
believe.
drowned.
They both drowned, that's
Yeah.
right. And he's suspected of, causing their deaths. Whether he did or not, I don't know.
Yeah, they
But-
can't really say.
They reenact it where you see he's involved.
Mhm.
In addition, as a child, he befriended a doctor who was very close to the school that he attended. And he learned a lot from this doctor. He used to watch him.
Do autopsies,
Well,
right?
I don't know if it was autopsies or what he was studying or researching, I don't know. But he would watch him doing the,
It was so long ago, I don't remember.
Right.
Yeah.
I think because I didn't get to see the whole thing, but I did watch it more recent than they did. But I believe it was. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he was referring to watching the TV show, but yeah, watching the doctor.
about
I didn't get
his
that.
youth.
I don't recall.
I do think it was autopsies though, because that's how he learned to, you know, dissect and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Right. What else can we say about his youth? Not much, other than he went to, he did go to medical school.
In Michigan
He went
University.
Right. He went to another one prior to that, but they weren't doing a lot of hands-on stuff that he wanted to get involved in.
Mm.
So that's when he transferred to the University of Michigan and actually finished medical school there. And I believe after medical school, his story begins with moving to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we talked about this in the last video. When he landed in Chicago, and I don't remember the year, was it 1896?
1880s.
1886,
Mid-1880s, I don't know.
Yeah.
1886, where he assumed a new identity. He assumed a new name, an alias
Mm-hmm.
of Dr. H.H. Holmes.
Right.
He was Henry Winston Mudgett.
Yep.
That was his given name. But apparently he used a lot of
Herman
aliases.
Webster Mudgett.
Herman Webster Mudgett.
There you go.
He had a lot of aliases through
Right.
a lot of
Yeah.
the schemes that he was involved in. But he used H.H. Holmes for building the hotel,
Right.
which was later called the Murder Castle.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's the that marks the timeline, because this Jeff Mudgett is on basically about a bit of a crusade to prove that his great-grandfather was also Jack the Ripper.
Right. Right.
The timeline, there's a break in the timeline of all his activities, because he was involved in a lot of legal disputes because of all his con man activities.
Yeah.
And then there's a break in 1888 or whatever it was. That's when Jack the Ripper was active in London. And then that's when in 1889 or whatever, that's when the murder castle started being built. And then there's another paper trail for him.
And there wasn't anything between the time that Jack the
Well,
Ripper.
and that's what this show shows you.
That's what they're showing.
They're
yes.
saying that he had a pretty easily traced out legal timeline, because he was, he's getting sued.
He's trying to get property and money
Switch
from these
names,
people.
doing all this.
Yeah.
He was actually a pharmacist. I mean, he was performing pharmacy when he was when he went to Chicago. That's what he was practicing as a doctor.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He didn't actually become a medical. Well, I guess he was a medical doctor, but he didn't actually practice medicine.
No, but he did use his skills for
Right.
murdering people, and he did horrible things that, like, he took out organs, and I'm not sure if he sold the organs, but we know that he stripped them down to skeletons and sold the skeletons to medical schools, which is part of his scheming.
And the medical schools also didn't really question. It was hard for them to get these skeletons,
No,
so
they-
they
Yeah,
didn't really
apparently that was
question
a
where they
thing
were
that-
coming from.
Like grave robbing and stuff like that was a thing that happened back then, and
Right.
they would sell the stuff to, I guess,
Turn a
medical
blind-
schools would be the only.
Yeah, they turn a blind eye to
right.
where this stuff is coming from.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
Yeah.
so they have a timeline of when he started in Chicago. And at one point he fled Chicago because all these creditors were after him. They wanted to put him in jail. So he fled Chicago and then he went to, was it Boston?
Well, he was in St. Louis, and then he was down in St. Louis, and then he was over the map.
Yeah.
And then not Denver, but west. I don't know, Oklahoma somewhere. And then
And
he was
this-
in New York.
this was before Jack the Ripper started killing people.
No,
No,
there was
I think
a
it
gap.
after.
There was a gap.
There was-
Okay.
there was a
And
gap.
So they do go to England to see what the timeline. I learned that Jack the Ripper only had a 3 or 4 month period that he killed people.
Right, right.
Well,
So there were 5 victims.
That's the what they call the conical five.
Yeah.
But there were other victims of that style of getting killed, but they only attribute those 5 to him.
Okay.
Who was never caught. And then only they had these 2 letters as part of the evidence.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. When they go to England, they're looking in to see about Jack the Ripper's murders. And then who was so let's start with Jack the Ripper and his timeline and his victims. So it was the summer of 1888
Right.
that the first victim was found. And I believe his spree went for 3 months. Was it, or 4 months till November?
It was the summer and the fall of
Okay.
1888. So
I think it went till
started
November.
August
Yeah.
and then it went till
It's a 4-month probably.
Yeah.
November,
Yeah.
I believe.
So we have the first victim. He just killed her. He slashed her neck, correct?
Right.
And she died. The second victim was actually killed and he took her uterus. So they're saying that because of the way that the uterus was taken out, that it was probably a surgeon or a medical doctor that would have known how to take this organ out of someone's body. Then the third and fourth victims were on the same evening, correct?
Correct.
And those victims, the first victim, someone approached while he was killing her, so he ran away. He did kill the victim, but that's all he did was kill her. And then 15 minutes or between 15 minutes and 45 minutes later, I don't have the exact time, he also killed another victim. But this time he did take her uterus as well and a kidney. So he did disembowel this one, and then because I guess he had more time. And then the fifth victim was a victim that he had taken to a hotel.
Or it might have been her quarters or wherever she lived that she
Right,
brought
because they
in
were
there.
prostitutes. All of them were
Right,
prostitutes.
right.
And yes, hers was, they have pictures.
Well, the whole thing was they were trying to make a connection to Holmes because Holmes was a doctor, and Holmes thoroughly dissected people, which
Right, he
found
had
evidence of that.
Lots of skill in
That's
that.
what they were trying to connect to the Ripper, the timeline, and then the skills.
Right.
Right.
But the Ripper was always, people always said that they thought it was a doctor.
That's right.
There was one doctor. It's called the Bobby Street Ledger. There was an American doctor that was a suspect,
Right, yeah.
and there was a whole list of people that were suspects. But
Right.
Right.
and that's a whole nother.
Do you think, after reviewing this, that H.H. Holmes was Jack the Ripper?
No,
You don't?
heck no.
Okay.
Because I can tell you right from the beginning of this thing, I was just questioning it the whole time. It seemed like it was forced. I mean, Jack the Ripper is killing prostitutes on the street, right?
Okay.
And Holmes is building elaborate buildings and going around, making all these false businesses and having people swindle them for life insurance and stuff. not related. I mean, it seemed like there were two different things. Now, I know part of the thing they were talking about is that maybe Holmes evolved.
Right.
That from being just like a street slasher.
Yes.
Jack the Ripper was basically like a street slasher. He's killing prostitutes in like this destitute slum parts of
right.
London.
White Castle is what it was called.
White Castle. Holmes is swindling people that they're not prostitutes. They're working class people. They're other, other business people. He's involved in all these multiple businesses. It just doesn't seem like the same type of person.
But to hone his
There's no connection.
To hone his skills, do you think maybe he went somewhere far? So if, in fact, they were on his trail, he could go away. He could figure out how to kill people, when to kill people, where is best to kill people. There are a lot of, and I didn't see the whole thing, so I'm just basing this on the beginning.
Like one of the things I see out of this is it doesn't seem too hard to get people. I mean, the Peitzel woman gives the kid their 3 children. I mean, it seems like he didn't have any problem finding people to kill.
Yeah, it was easy back then.
They were literally throwing him.
Yeah.
He's married to 3 women at one time. He's having them take out life insurance, making the beneficiary.
Right. He was a con man.
It's but he didn't need to go to England to find people to kill. He had plenty of people here.
I don't think he went there to find
it. I think he went there to figure out.
And then when you look at all the evidence, it was all circumstantial evidence that Jeff Mudgett and his whatever she is to him,
his associate,
thank you, dug up things that were very compelling to me. She was very skeptical in the beginning when he told her that he believed that H.H. Holmes was Jack the Ripper, and she was like, well, it's kind of like how you felt.
Right.
I still feel that way.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go through the different things that they presented to the viewers. So first we were doing the timeline. So they did see that there were a lot of legal things going on before Jack the Ripper started killing. During that period, they say that there wasn't a lot of legal stuff going on.
They had no records of him during that month that Jack the Ripper
was
what
on
his killing spree.
Okay.
They can't account for him anywhere.
So then he comes back to the United States. There are ship manifests that do have, there's an H. Holmes, right, on one of the manifests. There is also another.
See, that to me, that was like Holmes. It's like a super popular name. It's probably why he picked it.
Right.
Right? It's like an English name. There's probably 10,000 Holmes coming and going from England to here.
The manifest did have about the same age. They also had another alias that he used on another manifest.
Right. And they also said that at that time period, people gave fake names. It was somewhat like...
They didn't have a driver's license or any ID.
Yeah, they didn't have to prove it.
Operating at that time too. So that's not conclusive at all. That's very loose, super loose.
It's all circumstantial. The other, I thought, compelling evidence was they had the witness reports from England, where they were able to do a computer-generated picture of Jack the Ripper based on these witnesses.
And they did have a person that actually did do
that she was professional
an artist,
doing this. And it was done on a computer. It wasn't like she sketched it. Somehow the computer was smart. But anyway,
most of them are now, so yeah.
They had that picture, and then they had the picture of H.H. Holmes. And they did a side-by-side comparison. And oh my God.